Picture this. You're at Costco. There's one rotisserie chicken left. You reach for it. At the exact same moment, somebody else reaches for it too. You lock eyes. Nobody says a word. The tension is immediate. Now remove the Costco. Remove the parking lot. Remove civilization. Actually, remove everything. No police. No laws. No hospitals. No customer service desk. And replace that rotisserie chicken with a 400-pound deer. Welcome to prehistory, because that is basically how some of humanity's first conflicts started. Not because people were evil, not because they were bloodthirsty, but because everybody needed to eat, and sometimes there wasn't enough to go around. Welcome back. This is Sticks Decode. Like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. A lot of people imagine prehistoric humans as permanently angry cave dwellers who spent all day hitting each other with clubs, which is funny, but probably not true, because fighting was incredibly expensive. Today, if you break your arm, you go to a hospital. 30,000 years ago, you break your arm, and suddenly your survival strategy becomes hope for the best. There was no emergency room, no antibiotics, no urgent care. Not even a YouTube tutorial. A serious injury could easily become a death sentence. So most of the time, people preferred not to fight. The smallest conflicts probably started with resources. Food, water, shelter, the basic stuff. Imagine your hunting group has been tracking a deer all day. You've been running for hours. You're exhausted, hungry, sweaty. Everyone is already mentally cooking the deer. Then another group shows up, and they say, "Actually, we've been tracking that deer since this morning." Now, nobody's happy. This is essentially the prehistoric version of, "Bro, I called dibs." "No, I called dibs." "No, I called it first." Except instead of arguing in a group chat, everybody is holding spears, which raises the stakes just a little. At first, conflicts were probably more about intimidation than violence. Shouting, threatening gestures, showing off strength, making yourself look bigger. Humans still do this, by the way. We just use social media now. The prehistoric version was flexing your muscles. The modern version is posting gym selfies with captions like, "Locked in, same software, different update." Sometimes one group backed down. Problem solved. Nobody gets stabbed. Everybody goes home. Well, wherever home was. But sometimes, neither side wanted to leave. And that's when things got messy. One shove becomes two. A rock gets thrown. Somebody swings a stick. And suddenly, the world's first terrible decision-making contest has officially begun. Humans have incredibly good memories for social conflicts, especially unfair ones. Nobody remembers the random Tuesday when everything went fine, but everyone remembers that one guy who stole their deer. So now, the conflict isn't just about food. It's personal. And once something becomes personal, humans become remarkably creative at making things worse. This is where revenge enters the story. Group A steals from Group B. Group B attacks one of Group A's hunters. Group A retaliates. Group B retaliates again. Soon, everyone is angry. Nobody remembers how it started. And everybody is absolutely convinced they're the good guys. Congratulations. Humanity has just invented the comments section. Then came an even bigger source of conflict. Water. Because you can survive without food for quite a while. Water? Not so much. If a river, lake, or spring was the only reliable source nearby, controlling it became extremely important. Imagine being the only person with the Wi-Fi password. Now imagine everybody's life literally depends on that password. Things get tense very quickly. As populations grew, these tensions got worse. A hunting territory that comfortably supported 20 people suddenly had to support 50, then 100. Resources that once seemed unlimited suddenly weren't. And history teaches us a very simple lesson. When demand goes up and supply stays the same, drama is coming. Every single time. Then humanity unlocked what might be the most important update in its entire history. Agriculture. Farming sounds peaceful. It sounds wholesome. It sounds like something that belongs on a calendar with cute cows. In reality, farming changed everything. Because for the first time, humans could accumulate wealth. Now people had fields, stored grain, livestock, permanent homes, property. And once humans have property, they immediately become interested in a revolutionary new concept, not letting other people take it. Yesterday, if someone threatened your camp, you could move. Today, you have crops growing in the ground. You can't exactly pick up a wheat field and take it with you. So people stayed. And if they stayed, they needed protection. This led to something humanity would become very, very good at: organized violence. Now we're no longer talking about random fights. We're talking about planning, preparation, coordination. Groups beginning to think strategically. Picture a village meeting. One person stands up and says, "The people across the river have a lot of food." Everyone nods. Another person says, "And very little security." More nodding. A third person says, "So, are we all thinking the same thing?" And unfortunately, everybody was. Humans discovered something incredibly powerful: teamwork, which is wonderful when you're building houses, slightly less wonderful when you're using it to attack your neighbors. The same cooperation that helped people survive also helped them wage larger conflicts. That's one of the great paradoxes of human history. Our greatest strength has always had two settings: helpful and terrifying. As villages grew larger, attacks became more organized. People built defenses, watchtowers, walls, guard posts, weapons designed specifically for combat rather than hunting. For the first time, we start seeing something that looks a lot more like warfare, not thousands of soldiers marching across continents. Not yet, but definitely something bigger than a disagreement over a deer. And if you're thinking this sounds like humanity was doomed from the start, not so fast. Because conflict is only half the story. The other half is cooperation. And honestly, that's the more impressive part. Humans didn't become the dominant species because we were the strongest. We weren't the fastest either. Or the toughest. What made us different was our ability to work together. Lots of groups solve disputes through trade. You have stone. I have meat. Let's make a deal. Boom. Commerce is born. One of the most successful inventions in human history. Turns out exchanging things is usually cheaper than stabbing each other. Groups also formed alliances. Instead of fighting over every resource, neighboring communities sometimes cooperated. Together, they could hunt larger animals, share information, protect each other, and survive challenges neither group could handle alone. It was basically the prehistoric version of realizing your coworker isn't actually the enemy. The real enemy is the deadline. Then there was one of humanity's oldest diplomatic strategies: marriage. That's right. Sometimes the solution to conflict was literally, what if your family and my family became the same family? It sounds suspiciously simple, but it works surprisingly well. People are generally less enthusiastic about attacking relatives. Usually. Most of the time. Human history occasionally had other ideas. Over generations, these connections created larger social networks. Villages became towns. Towns became cities. Cities became civilizations. And with civilization came larger armies, larger conflicts, and larger wars. But that's a story for another day. Deep inside every modern human brain is software that was written in prehistory. The world changed. Technology changed. Civilization changed. But the basic wiring? A lot of that is still running the original version, which means that somewhere, buried beneath smartphones, streaming services, and online banking, there is still a prehistoric hunter yelling, "That deer was mine." And honestly, that's probably where the story of human conflict began. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and gives me an excuse to spend even more time digging through humanity's increasingly ridiculous history. Thanks for watching.